Oh, and what are you gonna do about it, Tinkerbell? Jack, let's just go, Jonna whispered, sensing the danger. Yeah, Jack said, his bravado vanishing like smoke. No sense in causing a scene. I think I left my oven on. Or my iron. Very dangerous. He scrambled to his feet, nearly knocking over his beer. Come on, girls, we're leaving. As they hurried toward the door, Kong's booming laughter followed them. That's right, run along, sweetheart. Don't trip on your skirt. Outside, the cool evening air felt like a reproach. Jack walked in silence, his shoulders hunched. He felt the weight of Jonna and Chrissy's gaze. They didn't say anything, which was worse than if they had mocked him. You did the right thing, Jack, Chrissy said finally, though her voice lacked conviction. Fighting is uncivilized. Right, Jack muttered. Uncivilized. I'm a very sophisticated coward. Chapter 9, The Tooth of the Landlord. While Jack was wrestling with his shattered ego, Stanley Roper was wrestling with something even more painful. A wisdom tooth that had decided to declare war on his jaw. I'm in agony, Helen, Stanley groaned, slumped in his armchair with a bag of frozen peas pressed to his face. I'm dying, and you're just sitting there reading a catalog. Helen didn't look up from her magazine. The doctor said you were in perfect shape, Stanley. You went for a checkup yesterday. Doctors don't know anything, Stanley barked, which immediately caused a sharp jab of pain that made him wince. They only care about your money. I've got a tooth that feels like it's being hammered by a blacksmith. Then go to the dentist, Helen said calmly. I hate dentists. They're all sadists in white coats. Besides, a couple of aspirin will fix it. You've already taken a whole bottle, Stanley. Any more, and you'll start rattling when you walk. You'd like that, wouldn't you? Stanley grumbled. You're just waiting for me to keel over so you can buy that black see-through nightie and run off with the mailman. The mailman is 70, Stanley, and he has a bad hip. I have higher standards than that. Stanley stood up, pacing the room in his usual agitated fashion. He looked out the window, his eyes narrowing. Wait a minute. Is that Chrissy Snow? Walking across the courtyard in her nightgown again? Helen joined him at the window. It's 3 p.m., Stanley, and she's just going to the laundry room. She's wearing a robe. It's indecent, Stanley insisted. This is a respectable neighborhood. Tell her to get dressed before she leaves the house. You're just cranky because your mouth hurts, Helen said, leading him back to his chair. Go to sleep, Stanley. Maybe the pain will get bored and leave. Chapter 10, The Hero of the Beagle. The next evening, the atmosphere in apartment 201 was thick with Jack's self-pity. He had spent most of the day lying on the couch, staring at the ceiling and contemplating a life of exile. I'm yellow, Jack moaned. I've got chicken in my blood. Even fat Kenny Jensen in 3rd grade could spot it. I used to give him a nickel every morning just so he wouldn't look at me funny. Jack, stop it, Jana said, sitting beside him. You did the right thing. That guy was huge. He would have turned you into a floor rug. But I didn't even try, Jack lamented. A man should stand up for his roommates. He should be the builder, the protector, the hewer of wood. Instead, I'm the hewer of snacks. We like you just the way you are, Chrissy said, patting his hand. With your face and everything. That's the problem, Jack cried. My face. It's the face of a man who wouldn't fight his way out of a wet paper bag. Determined to prove something to himself, or perhaps to the girls, Jack suggested they go back to the Regal Beagle that night. I'm going to face my demon, he declared, striking a pose that was slightly undermined by his fuzzy slippers. When they arrived, the pub was crowded. Kong was there again, holding court at the bar. He saw them enter and gave a mocking salute with his glass. Look, he's back, Kong shouted, and he brought the girls. Hey, little Joe, you come to get your nails done. Jack felt his legs shaking, but he stood his ground. I came for a beer, sir, and a little respect. Respect? Kong laughed, stepping away from the bar. He towered over Jack. You want respect. You gotta earn it. Jana stepped forward. Listen, you big ape. My friend here is a hero. You shouldn't pick on him. Kong blinked. A hero. Him. That's right, Jana said, her voice full of false conviction. He's a veteran. Served in Vietnam. Saved his whole platoon during a night ambush. He's got a steel plate in his head and a black belt in 3 different languages. The pub went quiet. Even the jukebox seemed to lower its volume. Kong looked at Jack with a newfound, albeit suspicious, regard. Vietnam, huh? Kong muttered. A steel plate. Jack, sensing a shift in the wind, nodded solemnly. It whistles when the wind blows from the north. Very annoying. Kong looked at Jack's small frame, then back at Jeanette's defiant face. He seemed to reconsider. Well, I didn't know that. I mean, I got respect for the service. He turned back to the bar. Sorry about the Tinkerbell crack. As they sat at their table, Jack let out a breath he felt he'd been holding since the previous night. Jana, why did you tell him that? I wasn't in Vietnam. I was in the Coast Guard. I spent the war painting buoys in San Diego. It worked, didn't it? Jana whispered. He was going to kill you. Jack, now he's afraid he'll set off your metal plate. But now I feel like a fraud, Jack said. You were brave enough to come back here, Chrissy said. That's what counts. Jack sat up a little straighter. You're right. I am brave. I'm a hero in a painting buoys kind of way. But the peace was short-lived. A few minutes later, the door to the pub swung open and Stanley Roper walked in, looking for a brandy to numb his tooth. He saw the roommates and headed straight for them. Hi, kids, Stanley said, his voice muffled by the peas. I saw you leave. I thought I'd join you